So this is the time where you need to find your worksheets, whether that's digitally or with a pen and paper, printing them out. We're going to go through the worksheets. Chrissy is going to join me in facilitating this process. So Chrissy, can you give us a little bit of an introduction and how we're going to work through these worksheets?
Yes, thank you, Desiree, and hello, everybody. Again, I'm Chrissy Bausch. I'm with the Morrison Institute for Public Policy at Arizona State University, and I am the scribe for this session. And I want to encourage all of you to work alongside us and use the worksheets that were emailed out yesterday. I think the link was provided in the chat, and maybe we can get that in the chat again for easier access if anyone doesn't have it open yet. The worksheets are fillable PDFs, so you can type directly into them, or you could print them out and write them in by hand, write in the terms by hand. So while we're working with Tall Tales Ranch in the session, you might think about your current home, your dream home, an existing property, or a future development, and then think about how you would use the nomenclature, its categories and terms to describe that home, property, or development. And your answers will probably be different from those of the example that we're working with. And that's good. That's okay. We need diverse residential options to help meet the diverse preferences and interests of the neurodiverse market. Someone in the chat asked earlier what to do with the worksheets. So they're a tool for you to brainstorm, to plan, to communicate. So hang on to them, refer back to them, revise them, use them to ask questions, to work with your partners, to draft your plans, your websites, and your brochures, and for your housing searches. If after today you have any questions about how to use the worksheets or to how to use the nomenclature, please contact us. So let's dive in, Desiree. And if you're working in parallel with us, we are going to start with the property section, which in the nomenclatures or in the worksheets, excuse me, is page 3 and 4. And also, I'll note that the slides that we're working with look a little different from the worksheets because we have the nomenclature terms that correspond with the category that we're discussing in real time listed at the bottom of the slides. So you will probably want to refer to the nomenclature in the A Place in the World report for the terms and definitions and maybe some inspiration. Okay, thanks so much, Desiree. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. And I'm going to introduce Susan Mooney, the co-founder of Tall Tales Ranch. And Alyssa, if you can pop that video on the screen so that all of us can get a little bit of a visual of the opportunity that Susan and her husband, Pat, along with their son, Ross, is going to be creating in Colorado.
Ranch will be located on a remarkable piece of land at I-25 and Ridgegate Parkway in Lone Tree, Colorado. On property donated by the Schweiger Ranch Foundation, Tall Tales Ranch will be visible from the highway and offer easy accessibility to RTD's Ridgegate Light Rail Station, which is located right across the street. Our ideal location means visitors can travel to the ranch via public transportation, and ranch residents will be able to reach countless Metro Denver destinations for work and social opportunities. We will also lease 1- and 2-bedroom apartments to 32 residents in 4 buildings. These residential units will be neurodiverse, designed and available for lease to people with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities. All of our residents will have access to shared amenities, which may include around-the-clock concierge service, life skills classes, and planned social activities. Our Big Blue House is a special and important centrally located building among the residences. It is designed for our residents to share meals, experience community, and cultivate connection. The community barn is the epicenter of the property. This beautifully designed space will be used as an event venue for a multitude of purposes. The potential for inviting and nurturing relationships with other nonprofits and corporate and community partners is endless. Not only will this space be used to produce income for Tall Tales Ranch, it will also allow us to provide vocational training to people living with special needs on the ranch and throughout the community. Our retail coffee shop will be both a wonderful place to gather and another space offering vocational training. As we cultivate and grow much needed job skills, we also make powerful connections that encourage fellowship. We will have a space dedicated to playing in the dirt. Our gardens and orchard will not only generate income, it will be yet another vehicle to bring people together at the ranch. Our seasonal farmers market will allow us to sell our ranch-grown produce and to interact with the greater community.
Thank you so much. So Susan, are you there with us?
I am. Hi, Desiree. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Now for all of you at home looking at your worksheet, it's going to be filled in differently because I'm going to be going through this as an example with Susan, very specifically talking about tall tales. So yours should not look just like hers because we're creating all different opportunities from all around the country for all different types of people. So Susan, let's start.
Okay.
What is the target market of tall tales?
So our target market is adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, also low-income residents and neurodiverse adults.
Right, because people with and without disabilities are going to live at Tall Tales.
Correct.
Wonderful. Okay, next slide. So the residential unit type, I couldn't quite tell in those pictures. Is this an apartment or a townhouse? Can you clarify that?
Sure. It's apartment. It's an apartment community, 1 and 2 bedroom. Almost all of them are 1 bedroom, but yes, apartments.
Wonderful. And then your development type, what would you consider your development type to be?
You know, I think I would call it mixed use development because we do have some commercial aspects to it. We're going to have a coffee shop and we're going to have an event barn. So I would say mixed use.
Yep, absolutely. I also think so. Mixed use. That's so exciting to be able to have that.
Yes.
And then the next thing is lifestyle. How would you describe kind of the feel, the lifestyle of Tall Tales?
I think it is absolutely active living community. It's an intentional community. It will be pet friendly. You know, I would say live, work, play, Desiree, but I'm not exactly sure that I know what you mean by that.
So live, work, play means that people can walk to a place where they can work. So maybe like your coffee shop or the gardens, but that they can also find recreational activities, which I believe you're going to offer with some of your supportive amenities and your common spaces.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say that maybe you are live, work, play.
Okay.
And I think it's important to distinguish, would you consider yourself an agricultural or ranching community, as that's part of your name?
You would think so, since that's part of our name, but you know, we really are not going to be a ranch. We're connected to a ranch, Schweiger Ranch. So I would not call us a ranching community, no.
Okay. What's next? Property's relationship to LTSS. So are you consumer controlled or provider controlled or a hybrid?
So we are consumer controlled setting.
Great. So individuals who live there will be able to choose the provider of their choice from the providers that are in your area.
Correct. We've decided that we do not want to become a PASA.
Right. In Colorado, in order to provide long-term support services, you have to become what's called a PASA. That might be different in other states, what a licensed provider of services would be called.
Yeah.
Okay, what else is next on our list? Physical amenities. These are the things that are part of the property, the building, the built environment. What are your physical amenities that you're planning?
So definitely we're going to have common area space. We will have easy to clean features, extra durable features. We'll have some recreational amenities as well as relaxation amenities, pedestrian oriented. We will have security features, sensory friendly design, smart home features, smart home technology, transit access. And I was going back and forth between the accessibility and the adaptability design. Will you define those for me, Desiree?
Sure. So accessible design means that there will be specific units that are very much ADA compliant, but that you keep in mind accessibility throughout the whole property. Adaptable design means that all of your units could potentially be ADA accessible. So maybe there are studs in the wall for grab bar and you have 0 entry into all of your units. So that would be adaptable design. And then universal design is for the whole property, that somebody who uses a mobility device or a wheelchair would be able to access all of your property without necessarily having like a special ramp or a special lift. It's just ingrained in all of the property, that it will be accessible to individuals who use wheelchairs or another mobility device.
Okay, I would say that we have got an adaptability design based on that.
Fantastic. And then supportive amenities. What are those supportive amenities that are not funded by Medicaid? So these are the in-person amenities, humans support, that is part of rent or a community fee that's associated with the property and available to all residents with and without disabilities.
So community life, community navigator, health and fitness activities. We will offer life skills training, and we will have residence assistants there as well.
Wonderful. Will those residence assistants live on the property?
They will.
Okay, great. And then I heard that you're going to be a rental lease property and potentially affordable rental and lease?
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. And it's really important for all of you to think about, if you do accept subsidies, government subsidies, so whether that's low-income housing tax credits or other forms of capital subsidies, that has red strings attached, right? That you can't necessarily choose who lives in those affordable units. It has to go out to a public, like a lottery. So that's important to consider when you're looking at different subsidies. What are the different red strings attached? How long does the unit have to be affordable? Those type of details. All right, let's keep rolling. It sounded like you're going to have both private and shared residences, correct?
Yes.
Great. And you are in the in development stage, your pre-development stage, because you've already acquired the property and you're hoping to break ground within the next 2 years. For those of you who have not acquired property, who are still in the planning stages, that's how you would describe yourself, as being in the planning stages. Pre-sales lease means that construction has already started and you're getting ready to move forward. So for all of you in the chat, I encourage you, there was a lot of networking and back and forth. Go to the Autism Housing Network and add yourself as a listing. We have the nomenclature has not been updated on the Autism Housing Network. We're in the process of doing that, but it will at least give you a place to be able to connect with each other moving forward. Okay, what else do we have? Because we are running out of time. We got to roll. Property development worksheet. What would you consider Tall Tales Ranch as? What type of developer?
I would say that we're a nonprofit developer.
Okay, great. And your financial stack, you said, as we were talking about earlier, I think we might just skip this one because it's going to take a while, but that you're still trying to figure out your financial stack to see what's going to make things work. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, wonderful. And then how did you get your land?
So it was donated to us, and we've got a low-cost land lease in perpetuity. Very
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think we're going to stop there, mainly because we're running out of time. But Susan, thank you so much for volunteering to be our example today. We're excited to watch Tall Tales come into reality. And I hope that all of you will go to their website. They have a wonderful website. I love how Susan and her team make these caricatures and the way in which they describe what they're doing, and really look at the supportive amenities that they have already started pre-construction. Some of that community life aspect has already begun before they have broken ground, which is so important.
Thank you, Desiree.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.
Well, thank you, Desiree and Chrissy and Susan, and congratulations, Susan, on getting to where you are today. Very exciting and inspiring. And so when we talk about what's next, there's lots that's happening next. Certainly for you in your communities, this networking that's going on, as you heard from Desiree, through the Autism Housing Network, that networking will continue. We will be sharing links today to the PowerPoints. You'll have contact information for all the presenters. You'll also have a copy of the chat because so many of you did put information in there, so that you can share among and between yourselves, because this is where, again, we pay it forward, we kind it forward, we build our community together, and that's what we're doing here. That's what Sweetwater Spectrum is doing tomorrow through their workshops, and that's how we're going to get continuing to go faster together than if we did alone. There is a section in the Place in the World report that we definitely want you to pay attention to. And after you've combed through all the nomenclature and the promising practices and the housing market guide, this section is for you and for all of us of how we fuel the marketplace. You've given us great feedback through our polls in terms of how we prioritize some of this, but please pay attention to the final pages of the report and let us know how you can see yourself becoming involved. There's much for us all to do, and we will get it done. We also need to continue to recruit the Desirees of the world. There's only one, but we want to continue to look at the next generation leader who will carry this forward in your communities. For us here at First Place, we're also offering workshops. Coming up next is a workshop on design. And then we'll talk very specifically about the transition program and some of those early building blocks here at First Place, and for several of you in terms of offering the what next with a structured program and an offering, and whether it's private pay or public pay. And then in December, we'll be hosting a workshop about marketing and community building and resource development. Resource development is also code for fundraising. So if you're interested in joining us, we will be sharing more information about each of these. And Desiree, you want to tell folks, before I hand it over, Desiree, through First Place Global, we are also going to continue to offer our symposia. This has been very successful. I hope you think so. We will one day return to having in-person symposia, but until then, we'll offer them via webinar. We are also offering consultations and have a few projects underway where we're doing our best to help, and also through our toolkits. And that Learn for Independence curriculum is also what we consider a very big tool for the licensing of that curriculum. And then Desiree, let me turn it over to you so you can tell folks what's next for the Autism Housing Network.
Thank you, Denise. So something that I love to do are visioning workshops. Sometimes you don't exactly know what you want to do, and I can kind of help ask those questions about the benefits and the considerations of certain decisions. And then when I know, oh, you want to develop something like the Arc Jacksonville, then I can hand you over to Jim. Or, oh, you know what, you really need to talk to Denise about her Transition Academy. And I could hand you off to those who I know can really keep mentoring you forward because they've gone before you. I also do community education and market analysis. So trying to understand what is needed in your community and helping you educate your local community on what the options are. If you're just getting started, I've helped several communities develop interest surveys. So really trying to get a little bit more detail on what people in your specific community would want for a very specific project. I also offer Getting It Built series with Katie McCammett. She is the co-founder of Co-Housing in the US. And this is a 6-part series that we help individuals who are very specifically interested in co-housing. So building your own neighborhood, multi-generational. We walk you through how to do that. I also offer consultations and technical assistance regarding policy and kind of lessons learned from others. I've been able to visit over 100 different communities across the country, always asking the founders, what would you do differently? What was your biggest lesson learned? And I try to pass that on to other people. And very, very soon, we are going to develop some sort of credentialing program, because what we don't want is for someone to just buy a row of dilapidated homes, stick an autism sticker on it, and say that this is autism housing. That is not what we're looking for. We are looking to set the bar very, very high and make sure people understand what it would take to be able to create quality supportive housing options for their neurodiverse community.
Great. Well, Desiree, thank you. And again, your leadership and the Madison House Foundation. And keep this going, reimagining tomorrow, and do so with positive thinking and with a strong foothold in terms of reality. And remember that word attainable and that deep sense of purpose. You are doing it. You will continue to do it. And we want to be there as a community supporting you. And we will do our best to respond to the Q&A via some of our follow-up, but time does not permit us to do that today. Thank you all so very much. And once again, our dear friends and partners at the ASU Morrison Institute and Watts College, and to the Daniel Jordan Fiddle Foundation and our lead partners and sponsors who have brought all of this to you today. Stay well and keep going forward. Thank you all very much.